Hey BookTube, Chelsea the Reading Outlaw here to do a book review for you guys. Today I'm going to be talking about Shelter by Jung. I read this book as part of the Diversathon Readathon in September. I really enjoyed it. Jung is a Korean woman who writes about a Korean family, specifically Kyung, a Korean man, and his wife Jillian, and their young son. One day something incredibly tragic happens to Kyung's parents. There's an attack on their home and on their mother and father physically. And that for him opens up kind of a floodgate to the past. And we learn so much of the family dynamics and the relationship dynamics between Kyung and his mother and father. His father had been abusive to Kyung's mother, and Kyung's mother then was abusive to Kyung, in this very cyclical pattern of violence that rang very true to life from those who I've known personally who have experienced similar things. But this book isn't necessarily a book about abuse in the same way that, say, A Little Life is. It's more a book about how small decisions can impact the entire way the course of the story unfolds. Essentially, at the beginning of the novel, Kyung's mother comes to him, has been physically assaulted, and he automatically assumes that it is his father who's done this. His father has a history of spousal abuse, and from that point on proceeds to address his father under those assumptions. However, that's not what happened, and his parents have been attacked by a third party, and that the attack itself brings Kyung's parents into his home, which feels like a violation of his space, but also on another level, his automatic assumption that it was his father and his inability to see past that really changes some things between him and his parents. This book has several layers to dig through, both in terms of the personally political and the outwardly political. The book gets into discussion of what it's like for first generation immigrants to come of age and to have parents who are still struggling. It talks about the kind of social pressures and the outside political forces that can build on a person to the point where they're making personal decisions that have these long-reaching impacts. There are several mentions of times where Kyung's father, shortly after they arrive from Korea, Kyung's father is like an inventor or an engineer or something, and he's working with his colleagues, and he's deeply ashamed of his uneducated wife, who's not inherently uneducated, but just has not yet grasped the ability to speak English. And so he is embarrassed of that. And that embarrassment from those social pressures turns inward and becomes fuel for his abuse towards his wife, and through that towards his son. The book unpacks issues of gender. Kyung's mother, May, is constantly throughout the book being underestimated for her skills and her talent and her knowledge. And the more Kyung learns about her, the more he learns that she was not the woman he thought, that she had been making plans to do things and to start a work and to do more than anybody ever imagined that she could do. And it becomes very clear that Kyung is a very kind of unreliable narrator in the fact that he has become so jaded and so predisposed to assume things about his parents that we as readers begin to assume those things with him, and thus also have to battle our own internal inconsistencies when we learn that that is not the truth, that what Kyung has been presenting to us is not the entirety of the scenario as it unfolds. I think the thing I enjoyed the most about this book was the fact that it gets at inevitability of personality. Is it possible for someone to change? Can someone learn from their past mistakes? Or will we be forever tied to the bad decisions and the good decisions that we've made, like, irrevocably and irreconcilably? So that question is something I always really enjoy thinking about and have always really enjoyed thinking about, and this book just kind of does it in a way that I have not necessarily seen done before, or not done nearly this well before. There's one caveat that I have, and it is not at all related to the book. It is the fact that I listened to this on audio, and the narrator would do this heavier Korean accent for the parents. And while I understand that it was just a way to differentiate Kyung from his father and those kinds of things, it rang it rang racist to me. And I asked some people that I know who are of Asian descent whether or not that was something that sat well with them, and they all seem to have kind of squicky feelings about it. So if I had one drawback, that would be it. It's not Shelter's fault at all, but if you're going into it listening on audio, just know that that is a thing that will be happening. So if that's going to bother you or not sit well with you, just know that going in. You may want to read it in paper form. But yeah, please let me know down below if you have read Shelter, what you think of it, if you think you're going to pick it up. If you read anything for Diversathon that was particularly great, let me know. You can also leave all your other comments and questions and concerns, just like always. Hit me up on all my social medias in the down bar. I'm always here to talk books with you lovely people. You can comment, subscribe, come back, check me out. I love having you here. And until next time, happy reading.